The massive space station hung in the dark void between stars like a metal city floating in space. Nexus Prime was bigger than most planets, with thousands of docking ports and millions of beings living inside its metal walls. Today, the station buzzed with nervous energy as ships from 12 different alien worlds arrived for an emergency meeting. Ambassador Zixthara stepped into the Great Council chamber, her purple skin gleaming under the bright lights. She was tall and thin, with 4 arms and large black eyes that never seemed to blink. Behind her walked 3 other Vortanians, each carrying metal cases filled with data chips and weapon plans. The chamber was huge, with seats arranged in circles that went up toward the ceiling. Each section was built for different alien bodies. Some seats were filled with water for the fish-like Aquarians. Others glowed with heat for the rock creatures from the fire worlds. The insect-like Thrax hung from the ceiling in their web seats, while the crystal beings called Zephyrite stood on platforms that hummed with energy. Jake Morrison sat in the human section with Dr. Amy Peterson beside him. Jake was a big man, with short brown hair and the kind of face that looked friendly even when he was worried. Amy was smaller, with glasses and red hair tied back in a simple ponytail. They were the only humans in a room full of hundreds of aliens, and Jake could feel eyes watching them from every direction. "The meeting will begin," announced the station computer in a voice that spoke 12 languages at once. The noise in the chamber died down as all the aliens turned to face the center platform. Ambassador Zixthara moved to the speaking area. Her voice was high and musical, but there was worry in it. "We are here because of a growing threat. The humans of Earth have been advancing their technology at a dangerous speed. In just 50 years, they have gone from simple rockets to faster-than-light travel. They have built weapons we do not understand and show no fear of species much older than them." A hologram appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth as a blue and green ball floating in space. The image changed to show human cities, then human spaceships, then human soldiers with their weapons. "Look at their military," Zixthara continued. "They have orbital defense platforms around their planet. They have ships that can fight in space. They have soldiers trained for war on any type of world. And they keep building more." A Thrax warrior clipped his mandibles together, making a sound like breaking wood. "The humans breed fast and spread to new worlds quickly. They are like a virus that grows out of control. They also fight each other," added a Zephyrite, its crystal body ringing like a bell when it spoke. "Any species that makes war on its own kind cannot be trusted with advanced weapons." Jake felt his face get red, but Amy put a hand on his arm to keep him calm. They had known this meeting would not be friendly to humans, but hearing the aliens talk about his people like they were diseases still made him angry. Zixthara activated another hologram. This one showed a massive gun that glowed with purple energy. "This is our newest plasma disruptor. It can melt through any armor we have. Tested. The energy beam can destroy a human warship in seconds." Other aliens began showing their own weapons. The Zephyrite displayed sonic cannons that could shatter steel with sound waves. The Thrax revealed bioweapons that could eat through metal and adapt to any defense. Each weapon was bigger and more deadly than the last. "We have been preparing," Zixthara said. "Each of our species has developed weapons specifically designed to counter human military technology. We know about their defense grids, their ships, their armor, and their tactics. We have solutions for all of them." The chamber filled with the sounds of alien approval. Clicks, buzzes, musical tones, and grinding noises showed that most of the aliens agreed with the plan. "The question now," Zixthara continued, "is whether we give the humans a chance to prove they are not a threat, or whether we act before they become too strong to stop." Jake stood up. His voice carried clearly through the chamber. "I request permission to speak for humanity." The chamber went quiet. All the alien eyes turned toward him. Some looked curious, Others looked hostile, and a few looked afraid. "You may speak," Zixthara said, though she did not sound happy about it. Jake walked down to the center platform, feeling hundreds of alien eyes following his every step. Amy came with him, carrying a small metal case. "You have shown us your weapons," Jake said. "They are impressive and powerful. I can see why you think they would be effective against human military forces." Some of the aliens made sounds that might have been laughter, though Jake was not sure. "But," Jake continued, "I think you might be interested in seeing how humans approach defense. Would you allow me to demonstrate our latest technology?" The aliens looked at each other. There was a lot of whispering, clicking, and buzzing as they talked among themselves. Finally, Zixthara spoke. "Show us your human weapons. Let us see what you think can stand against our advanced technology." Jake smiled and opened the metal case. Inside was a device that looked almost ordinary compared to the massive alien weapons they had just seen. It was about the size of a thick book, with a smooth black surface and a few small lights along one edge. The aliens stared at the simple device. Some of them made confused noises. "This," Jake said, holding up the device, "is how humans solve problems." Ben Carter wiped the sweat from his forehead as he looked at the device on his workbench. The workshop was hot and filled with the smell of melted metal and burning circuits. Tools covered every surface, and half-finished machines sat in corners. Waiting to be completed, Dr. Lisa Morgan walked over from her computer station, holding a data pad full of test results. She was shorter than Ben, with blonde hair that always seemed messy from running her hands through it when she was thinking hard. "The quantum processors are working at 98% efficiency," Lisa said, looking at the numbers on her pad. "The nanofabrication units can build anything we need in under 30 seconds. And the adaptive AI is learning faster than we expected." Ben picked up the device and turned it over in his hands. It looked simple on the outside, just a flat rectangle of black metal with a few buttons and a small screen. But inside, it held technology that had taken 20 years to develop. "The aliens build weapons to destroy things," Ben said. "We build tools to fix things. That has to count for something." Lisa nodded and sat down on a stool next to the workbench. "I got the reports from space this morning. The Galactic Council is meeting right now to decide what to do about us. They think we are getting too dangerous." "Dangerous," Ben laughed, but there was no humor in it. "We are dangerous because we can solve problems they cannot think of solutions for." The device in Ben's hands beeped softly. A small hologram appeared above it, showing a three-dimensional image of the workshop. Red dots marked places where the air was too hot. Yellow dots showed areas with too much electrical interference, and green dots indicated optimal working conditions. "Show me the weapon analysis," Ben said to the device. The hologram changed to show the alien weapons that Earth intelligence had learned about. The Vortanian plasma disruptors glowed with purple energy. The Zephyrite sonic cannons looked like giant crystal horns. The Thrax bioweapons moved like living things, growing and changing shape. "Each weapon is designed to do one thing very well," Lisa said, pointing at the hologram. "The plasma disruptors melt through armor. The sonic weapons break things apart. With sound, the bioweapons adapt to eat through defenses. But what happens when they face a problem their weapon was not designed for?" Ben asked. Lisa smiled. "That is where we have the advantage." Ben pressed a button on the device. The hologram changed to show the internal workings of the Mark VII Universal Problem Solver. Circuit diagrams flowed past like rivers of light. Quantum equations solved themselves in real time. Nanomachines moved through tubes smaller than human hair. The electromagnetic field generators can create any type of energy barrier we need, Ben explained, even though Lisa already knew how their creation worked. Sometimes it helped to talk through the design again. The matter converters can turn any material into any other material. The adaptive AI can analyze any threat and find the best response in milliseconds. A message appeared on Ben's computer. Screen. It was from General Pete Walker at the Pentagon. The message was short and simple. Alien weapon demonstrations complete. They have big guns. Hope you have bigger solutions. Lisa read the message over Ben's shoulder. How long do you think we have before they decide to use those weapons on us? Not long, Ben said, but maybe long enough. He walked over to a cabinet and pulled out 10 more devices identical to the first one. Each device looked exactly the same from the outside, but Ben knew that inside, they were all connected through quantum entanglement. What one device learned, all the others learned instantly. The aliens think in terms of individual weapons, Ben said, lining up the devices. On his workbench, one gun shoots one type of beam at one target. But our tools work together. They share information. They learn from each other. Lisa activated one of the devices. It immediately connected to the others, and all 11 screens lit up with the same information. 11 tools become one smart system. 100 tools become a problem-solving network that can handle anything. Ben's phone rang. The caller ID showed Dr. Kate Barnes from the Strategic Defense Institute. Ben put the call on speaker. Ben, we just got word from the Galactic Council. Kate's voice filled the workshop. They are demanding a demonstration of our defensive capabilities. They want to test their weapons against our defenses. When? Lisa asked. Soon. Maybe days, maybe weeks. They are setting up a controlled test on some empty planet. They want to see if we can actually defend ourselves against their super weapons. Ben looked at the devices on his workbench. Each one contained the work of thousands of scientists and engineers. Each one represented humanity's approach to solving problems. Not by building bigger weapons, but by building smarter tools. Tell them we accept, Ben said. Ben, are you sure? Kate sounded worried. These aliens have weapons that can destroy entire cities. Their technology is hundreds of years ahead of ours in some areas. Their weapons are hundreds of years ahead of ours, Ben agreed. But their thinking is hundreds of years behind us. Lisa nodded and picked up one of the devices. They build one solution for one specific problem. We build one solution that adapts to any problem. Kate was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I hope you are right. Because if you are wrong, this test might be the last thing humanity ever does. After Kate hung up, Ben and Lisa stood in their workshop, surrounded by the tools they had spent years creating. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and red. Do you really think we can stop their weapons? Lisa asked. Ben smiled and held up his device. I think we can do better than stop them. I think we can make them pointless. The test planet looked like a giant ball of red dirt floating in space. It had no plants, no water, and no life. Just rocks and dust under a pale orange sky. Jake Morrison stood on the surface wearing his spacesuit, looking at the alien observation stations that dotted the hills around the test area. Each station was different, built for the alien species watching the test. The Vertanian station looked like a purple crystal tower. The Zephyrite station hummed with energy and glowed like a small sun. The Thrax station was covered in what looked like black metal webs. All stations report ready, came the voice of Ambassador Zix Thara through Jake's helmet radio. Human team, are you prepared for the demonstration? Jake looked at his team. There were only 5 humans on the planet's surface. Himself, Dr. Amy Peterson, Engineer Sam Rodriguez, Dr. Rachel Adams, and biologist Dr. Frank Thompson. Each person carried what looked like a simple handheld device and wore standard spacesuits. No weapons, no armor, no military equipment that the aliens could see. We are ready, Jake said into his radio. Sam Rodriguez checked his device one more. Time. The screen showed green lights for all systems. The electromagnetic field generators were online. The matter converters were loaded with base materials. The adaptive AI was running through threat scenarios at lightning speed. "Remember," Amy said quietly over their private communication channel, "let the tools do the work. Do not try to help them. Just trust the technology." The first test began without warning. A bright purple beam shot from the Vortanian station toward the human position. The plasma disruptor beam was hot enough to melt steel and fast enough to cross the test area in less than a second. Sam did not even have to think. His device detected the incoming plasma beam before his eyes could see it. The screen flashed red, then immediately turned blue as the device activated its defenses. A shimmering field appeared in the air between Sam and the plasma beam. The purple energy hit the field and simply disappeared. Not reflected, not absorbed, just gone. The device had analyzed the plasma composition in milliseconds and created an opposing energy pattern that canceled the beam completely. Impossible. Came Zix Thoris' voice over the radio. "The plasma disruptor has never been stopped before." The aliens in the observation stations were making excited noises. Jake could hear clicking, buzzing, and musical tones through the radio as they talked among themselves. "Beginning second test," announced the station computer. This time, the attack came from the Zephyrite station. A sound wave hit the human position like an invisible hammer. The sonic weapon was designed to shatter bones and break apart equipment. By vibrating at frequencies that destroyed solid matter, Dr. Rachel Adams felt her device vibrate in her hands. The screen showed sound wave patterns moving across it like ocean waves. Then the device began making its own sound, so quiet she could barely hear it. Through her helmet, the deadly sonic attack met the countersound from Rachel's device, and both sounds canceled each other out. The silence that followed was complete. Even the background noise of the planet's wind stopped for a moment. "How did they do that?" came a crystal voice from the Zephyrite station. "Our sonic weapons can break mountains apart." Third test beginning. Now, the computer announced. The Thrax attack was different. Instead of energy or sound, they released a cloud of bioweapons that looked like tiny black insects. The swarm moved through the air toward the humans, changing shape as it flew. The bioweapons were designed to adapt to any defense, eating through metal, plastic, or organic matter until they reached their target. Dr. Frank Thompson watched the approaching swarm through his helmet visor. His device was already working, analyzing the bioweapons and their adaptation patterns. The screen showed complex genetic structures and molecular diagrams flowing past in streams of data. The device made a soft beeping sound and released its own cloud of nanomachines. These were so small they looked like gray dust in the air. When the bioweapons met the nanomachines, something unexpected happened. The bioweapons stopped adapting. They froze in midair like tiny statues, unable to change or move forward. Frank's device had not destroyed them or pushed them away. Instead, it had simply turned off their ability to adapt, leaving them helpless. "This cannot be happening," came the voice of a Thrax warrior from their station. "Our bioweapons are the most advanced in the galaxy. They can overcome any defense." Jake smiled inside his helmet. "That was impressive, but let me show you something even better." He activated his own device and pointed it at the frozen bioweapons floating in the air. The device analyzed them for a moment, then began to glow softly. The bioweapons began to move again, but now they were different. Instead of trying to attack the humans, they started eating the dust and rocks on the planet's surface. Within minutes, they had converted the barren ground around the human position into rich, dark soil. "Your bioweapons now create life instead of destroying it," Jake said to the aliens watching from their stations. "Our tools do not just defend against threats. They turn threats into solutions." Amy stepped forward and activated her device. She pointed it at the scorched area where the plasma beam had hit the ground. The device analyzed the melted rock and began working on it. Slowly, the damaged ground repaired itself, becoming smooth and level again. The plasma energy you used to attack us is now powering our equipment, Amy said. Thank you for the free energy. Rachel was still holding her device, which was now using the sonic frequencies from the Zephyrite attack to analyze the planet's geology. Your sound weapons just helped us map all the mineral deposits under the surface. This planet has enough rare metals to build 100 space stations. The radio channels filled with alien voices talking over each other. Some sounded confused, others sounded amazed, and a few sounded worried. How is this possible? Zixthara's voice cut through the noise. You have no weapons, no defenses. Just simple handheld devices. Jake looked up at the alien observation stations. That is exactly the point. You built weapons to destroy specific things. We built tools to solve any problem. Your weapons only work against the targets they were designed for. Our tools work against anything. The test was over, but Jake knew the real demonstration was just beginning. The silence on the radio channels lasted for almost a full minute. Jake Morrison could hear his own breathing inside his helmet as he waited for the aliens to respond. Around him, his team stood calmly with their devices, ready for whatever came. Next, finally, Ambassador Zixthara's voice crackled through the communication system. This is not possible. Your primitive tools cannot defeat weapons that took our best scientists centuries to develop. May we come to your observation station? Jake asked. I think it would be easier to explain if we could show you in person. There was more silence, then rapid talking in alien languages that the translation system could not keep up with. Jake heard clicks, buzzes, musical tones, and grinding sounds as the different species argued with each other. You may approach the central observation platform, Zixthara finally said, but know that we are watching you carefully. The human team walked across the red dirt toward a large platform that had been built for the test. It was made of the same gray metal as the space station, with viewing screens and control panels arranged in a circle. Representatives from each alien species sit at their own sections, their different body types making the platform look like a strange gathering of creatures from a dozen different worlds. Dr. Amy Peterson stepped forward and activated her device. A hologram appeared above it, showing the internal structure of the Mark VII Universal Problem Solver. The image rotated slowly, revealing layers of technology packed into the small space. This is not a weapon, Amy said, her voice clear and steady. It is a tool designed to solve problems, any problems. The hologram zoomed in on different sections of the device. Quantum processors glowed with soft blue light. Nanofabrication. Chambers showed tiny machines building and rebuilding themselves. The electromagnetic field generators created patterns of energy that looked like flowers made of light. Your plasma disruptor creates a specific type of energy beam, Amy continued. Our device analyzes that beam and creates the exact opposite energy pattern. When they meet, they cancel each other out. A Vortanian scientist with 6 arms and silver skin stepped closer to the hologram. But how can one device know how to counter every type of attack? Our plasma technology is unique to our species. Engineer Sam Rodriguez smiled and activated his own device. Show plasma analysis, he said to it. The hologram changed to display the molecular structure of Vortanian plasma. Every detail was perfect, down to the quantum level. The device had learned everything about the plasma weapon in the few seconds it had been used. Your device memorized our technology in seconds? The Vortanian asked, his 4 eyes widening with surprise. Not just memorized, Sam said. It understood how to make it better. The hologram shifted to show an improved version of the plasma disruptor. The new design was smaller, more efficient, and produced twice as much energy with half the power consumption. "This is impossible," the Vortanian whispered. Dr. Rachel Adams stepped forward. "Your sonic weapon was also impressive. But our device did not just block the sound waves, it learned how to use them." Her device projected a new hologram showing sound wave patterns. Sonic energy can be used for many things besides breaking objects. It can be used to map underground structures, communicate across vast distances, or even heal damaged tissue. A tall crystal being from the Zephyrite delegation chimed like a bell. "You turned our weapon into a medical tool?" "We turned your weapon into a dozen different tools," Rachel said. "Medical scanner, communication device, mining equipment, construction tool, and more. All from analyzing one sonic attack." The aliens began talking among themselves again, but this time the sounds were different. Instead of anger or fear, Jake heard curiosity and excitement in their voices. Dr. Frank Thompson activated his device to show the bioweapon analysis. "Your adaptive organisms were the most challenging," he said to the Thrax delegation, "but also the most useful once we understood them." The hologram showed the bioweapons before and after the human device had modified them. "Instead of destroying everything they touched, we reprogrammed them to build. They can now convert barren soil into farmland, clean polluted water, or even repair damaged equipment." A Thrax warrior with black armor and glowing red eyes clicked his mandibles together. "You reprogrammed our weapons to create life instead of destroying it?" "We reprogrammed them to solve problems," Frank said, "the same way we design all our tools." Jake stepped into the center of the platform. "This is the difference between our species and yours. You see a problem and build a weapon to destroy it. We see a problem and build a tool to solve it." He held up his device. "This tool can defend against any attack, but it can also build shelter, create food, provide medical care, establish communication, repair equipment, and perform thousands of other functions." Amy activated her device again. "Show network connection," she said. The hologram expanded to show all 5 human devices connected by streams of light. Each tool shares information with all the others. When one device learns something new, every device in the network learns it instantly. "Network expansion," Amy continued. The hologram grew larger, showing connections to devices all across human space. Hundreds of thousands of connections formed a web of light that stretched across star systems. "Every human tool is connected to every other human tool," Amy explained. "We have a network of problem solvers that spans our entire civilization. When any human anywhere encounters a new challenge, every human everywhere learns the solution." Ambassador Zixthara stared at the hologram. "Your entire species is connected by these devices?" "Not just connected," Jake said. "Enhanced. Every human has access to the combined knowledge and problem-solving ability of our entire species." The alien representative stood in stunned silence. Jake could see them trying to understand what they had just learned. Their most advanced weapons had been defeated not by superior firepower, but by superior thinking. "You do not fight wars," Zixthara said slowly. "You solve problems." "We solve problems," Jake agreed. "And right now, we think the biggest problem in the galaxy is that everyone is preparing for war instead of preparing for peace." 3 months later, the Nexus Prime space station looked completely different. Where once there had been weapon displays and military planning rooms, now there were workshops and laboratories. The sounds of construction and experimentation filled the corridors as humans and aliens worked together on projects that none of them could have imagined before. Jake Morrison walked through the central hub, amazed at how much had changed. A group of Vortanian engineers worked alongside human technicians, using modified multi-tools to build a new type of power generator. The device combined Vortanian plasma technology with human adaptive systems to create clean energy that could power entire cities. In another section, Zephyrite artists were using human-modified sonic tools to create sculptures from sound waves. The crystal beings had discovered that their sonic technology could be used to shape matter in ways that were both beautiful and useful. They were building structures that were part art, part science, and completely amazing to watch. Dr. Amy Peterson found Jake near the observation deck. She was carrying a data pad filled with progress reports from dozens of joint projects happening all over the station. The Thrax bioweapons team just finished their latest test, Amy said, showing Jake the results on her pad. They have created organisms that can clean up toxic waste and turn it into useful materials. The cleanup process that used to take decades now takes weeks. Jake smiled as he read the report. And the Aquarians? They are working with our underwater specialists to build cities beneath the oceans of water worlds. The combination of their natural swimming abilities and our adaptive tools is creating underwater civilizations that are completely self-sufficient. Through the observation deck windows, Jake could see construction ships from a dozen different species working together to build something that looked like a massive flower made of metal and crystal. The new structure would be a research station where scientists from all the allied species could work on problems too big for any one world to solve alone. Ben Carter and Dr. Lisa Morgan arrived from their new laboratory, both looking tired, but excited. Ben was carrying a device that looked similar to the original multi-tool, but was clearly more advanced. The Mark 8 is ready for testing, Ben announced. We have incorporated improvements from every species in the Alliance. Vortanian energy systems, Zephyrite sound manipulation, Thrax biological adaptation, and quantum processing from the Crystalline Collective. Lisa held up her own device. But the most important improvement is not the technology. It is the philosophy. Every species has contributed their way of thinking about problems. The devices now approach challenges from 12 different perspectives at once. Ambassador Zixthara approached the group. She looked different now, more relaxed and confident. The worry lines around her large black eyes had disappeared. Replaced by what Jake had learned was the Vertanian expression of contentment. The Galactic Council has made a decision, Zixthara announced. We are officially dissolving the Emergency Military Committee and establishing the Galactic Problem-Solving Alliance in its place. Jake felt a weight lift from his shoulders. For months, there had been the possibility that some alien species might decide humans were still too dangerous to trust. Now that fear was finally gone. There is more news, Zixthara continued. The Outer Rim colonies have requested assistance with their resource shortage problems. 3 different species have volunteered to help, using the new collaborative tools we have developed. Dr. Frank Thompson arrived with a group of Thrax scientists. The insect-like beings had become some of the most enthusiastic supporters of the human approach to problem-solving. Their natural ability to adapt had made them perfect partners for developing the biomodification tools. The terraforming project on Kepler 442b is ahead of schedule, Frank reported. The combination of Thrax biological adaptation and human multi-tool technology has created an ecosystem that is already supporting plant life. The planet should be ready for colonization within 5 years instead of 50. Jake looked around at the group of humans and aliens working together. 6 months ago, these same species had been preparing for war. Now they were building a future that none of them could have created alone. There is something else, Amy said, pulling Jake aside. The deep space monitoring stations have detected signals from species we have never encountered before. They are not hostile, but they are clearly advanced and potentially dangerous. Jake felt a familiar concern, but then he looked at his multi-tool and smiled. Are they showing any interest in making contact? Yes, but they seem cautious. They probably see our alliance as a potential threat, just like we once saw each other. Jake activated his device and called up the communication protocols. Then we should do what we do best. We should solve their problem. What problem is that? Amy asked. Fear, Jake said simply. They are afraid of us because they do not understand. US, we can solve that by showing them that we are not interested in conquering anyone. We are interested in helping everyone. 2 weeks later, the first ships from the Galactic Problem-Solving Alliance departed for the edge of known space. The fleet was made up of vessels from every member species, each one equipped with the latest collaborative tools and crewed by mixed teams of humans and aliens. Their mission was not to explore or conquer, but to meet the new species and offer them the same choice that had once been offered to humanity: join the alliance of problem solvers, or remain isolated with their weapons and their fears. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the flagship, watching the stars stream past as they jumped to faster-than-light speed. Beside him, representatives from 12 different species worked together at stations designed for cooperation rather than conflict. In his hand, Jake held the latest version of the human multi-tool. It was more advanced than anything the original designers had imagined, but it still followed the same basic principle. When faced with a problem, build a solution that makes the problem go away. As they approached the unknown regions of space, Jake wondered what new challenges they would face. But he was not worried. Whatever problems waited for them out there, they would solve them together. The galaxy was no longer a place where species fought each other for resources and territory. It had become a place where different types of minds worked together to build something better than any of them could create alone. And it had all started with a simple idea. Instead of building weapons to destroy your enemies, build tools to solve your problems.